Jake, hey, congratulations on your new film, Ride.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate you having a chat.
You know what? I love these type of stories, and at first I was approaching thinking, oh, it's just another rodeo story, but it's much more than that. So we have to ask is where this original story came from.
I have been carrying this cowboy story my entire life. I was named Jake after Kevin Costner's character in the Silverado. My whole life I wanted to be Jake with the two-gun rig. I love all things cowboy hats. And when I started screenwriting and getting into acting, I really felt like where I had a specific and unique point of view, and then that, led into rodeo because I don't think there's enough rodeo movies out there. And it is kind of equal parts rodeo movie, sports movie, Rocky of Rodeo, but it's also equally, a family story, a family crime drama in particular.
Now, one of the things that's actually fascinating is because it in its own way it could easily categorize into a Western, but it's much more of a modern Western that like as of recently Taylor Sheridan has made popular. Is that the style that you wanted to capture? Because it's very similar to I want to say your brother's film, No Man's Land that I think the last time I spoke to you was that for that film.
I was just gonna say you look very familiar. And yeah, and I wrote that movie and my brother directed it. And yeah, I have always had an eye for the modern Western. What are cowboys dealing with right now? And I feel like it's a crucial time to tell that story. I had the honor, we won Best Movie at the Western Heritage Awards. I got to go to the National Cowboy Museum this year. And we were very much honoring a lot of traditional Western art, photography, literature, documentaries, different types of videos. And it was almost all about, you know, the West, the old way, 19th century, early 20th century. And then my trailer came on and it was like this, of modern energy. And I was kind of wondering how all the Cowboys would feel about that. And I was so proud and happily surprised when they came up to me afterward and said, "Thank you for telling our story, but telling it how it is right now. Because this is happening right now. We're not a thing of the past. It's fading. The cowboy way is fading and it's desperately holding on, the same as the bull rider. But it is, it's right now.
So what in your opinion is the elements of a modern Western to tell that type of story today?
I mean, there has to be some relationship for me, for my stories. There's almost got to be a relationship between man and animal. It's such an integral part of being a cowboy and certainly rodeo. But that the marrying of the two, I think, is super important. The family dynamics in Westerns are almost, always had. And generally speaking, there is a lawman or law woman in our case with Annie Beth Gish. And I really love exploring the modern Western from a crime space.
Absolutely. I understand this is your directorial debut also because
Yeah,
I'm very familiar with your brother's work. But
yeah,
tell us
I had a lot to live up to.
right. So tell us about your approach towards this film, especially with the camera work, because the camera work is very distinguishable.
Yes, definitely. I hope I, followed in his footsteps for sure. But I did want to, got my own voice and my own style. And, I think the main thing I wanted to do was tell a movie about rodeo and about cowboys that was inside their world as opposed to a filmmaker behind glass looking in. I wanted to be with these cowboys. I wanted to make a movie about cowboys, but also made by cowboys. So we partnered with the Lone Star Rodeo and we shot all of our rodeo scenes at live rodeos. at working rodeo bars. We went to a bar that actually has a rodeo arena in the back of this honky tonk in Jackson, Tennessee. It's called Slide and Ride. And we shot while the bar was open. And when you're shooting at live rodeos with real cowboys and real bulls, when you're shooting at live bars, when you're going to working ranches in Tennessee to shoot scenes, there's no time for blocking. You're not setting up these shots and waiting 3 hours to have the light just perfect for that shot. You're doing it a lot more docu style. And so I hired a cinematographer named Keith Lehman, who kind of came from that world and works beautiful and works fast. And I just, I can't say enough about what he brought to the movie on and off screen.
You know what? I did not know that you shot at the live rodeo. I thought it was a
Yeah.
recreation
And
of a rodeo. Why did you choose to go with that route of a live rodeo rather than doing recreating a rodeo with stuntmen and so on?
I just felt like, and I should say that I did have a stunt rider that did a lot of my bull riding for me. I would not claim to be a professional in the way that he is, but I just felt like, why would I bring dirt to the rodeo? Why not just go to the rodeo? So many times in Hollywood, they're bringing sand to the beach. And I'm like, first off, I don't have the money to recreate a whole rodeo, so how can I get that world with the amount of money that we had? And, luckily I met the Lone Star Rodeo Company out of Texas, and they really welcomed us with open arms and allowed us to be a part of their community and a part of their kind of this big weekend event that they had in Kentucky. It was a 3-day rodeo weekend. And so every day we just showed up and shot different scenes. We would be kind of given a 5-minute window to shoot our scene. And I just knew the authenticity would come from being a part of their world because it was real. No matter which way you turned the camera, something unique and authentic was happening.
And this town that you actually found to film because I know your brother likes to use like border areas and so on, but this is the story is based what Stephenville, Texas. Is
Stephenville, yeah.
Stephenville, Texas? Is that the actual town that you also filmed it at?
It is a real town, but we didn't shoot there. We just set it in this town, which is known, kind of self-proclaimed the cowboy capital of Texas.
Hmm.
And it's a beautiful place with a lot of history and heritage, particularly not only in cowboying, but in rodeo specifically. It's kind of a known thing that all the best bull riders either come from and live in Stephenville. And I think, my favorite part about Stephenville is that it has this larger than life feel to it about how the best bull riders come from there. But the reality is, the only reason that it became the cowboy capital of Texas is because it's in the dead center of Texas. So it was just geographically the easiest place for all the bull riders to live in to be able to make it to all their rodeos. So it's just gas money. And I just thought, wow, what a perfect symbolism for, again, the modern Western, and these larger than life figures that usually can get brought down to something really, really specific.
Well said. Well, Jake, let me wrap it up with one last question. Since this is your directorial debut, how was that experience? And are you definitely doing it again?
I absolutely loved it. I honestly only directed the movie because I knew that I cared the most. And I couldn't, at every point when we would talk to directors, I would say, I don't think they love it as much as me. And I know that I don't know cameras, and I don't know all these technical things, but I know that I love this movie and these story and these characters more than anybody else. And until I meet somebody who loves this world as much as me, why would I give them the reins? And I'm proud of that. And I know I wore a lot of different hats on this movie, and I probably spread myself a little too thin. But you know, every film needs a parent to take care of it and nurture it. And I know I'm about to release it to the world on June 14th, and it's going to be the world's and not mine anymore. But yeah, until I met somebody that loved it more than me, I'm gonna keep directing these films.
Well, that is wonderful, Jake, especially the fact that you brought in a wonderful cast, and I have to commend you for bringing in also a Lacey Booth to
Yeah.
sing in the film. So,
And I must say, as a first-time director, if you cast right and you hire correctly, your job on set is so easy. You know, hiring a Lacey K. Booth who sings her heart out in this movie and is I think a surprisingly good actor, especially for her first time on film. You know, it makes my life, she just makes me look good. You know, casting the real cowboy C. Thomas and Foy J. Smith makes me look good. Annabeth, you know, for Annabeth Gish, who's so accomplished to come and she, I felt like it was her first movie, just in terms of her energy and positivity and eagerness to work with me. And she didn't have to do that, you know, and I think it speaks to who she is as an artist and as a person.
well, everybody here is very good and most definitely make you look good. Jake, thank you very much for carrying this conversation. We'll definitely do this again down the road.
I appreciate it, man. Hope to be talking to you soon.